My name is Christine Hune. I'm the founder of CHMZ Ministries. We are here at Mombindambe area in Sengezi, where we actually bought a piece of land here to build a church with the main view or main vision, as well as building a school for the kids for this area, because most of the kids, they're actually walking long distances to school, about probably maximum 6 kilometers to, and probably another 6 kilometers coming back again. And most of these kids, they're actually very young, and I'm thinking of probably the youngest one being 3 years of age, because they go for nursery school for these long distances as well. So we're actually looking at developing this land by building a church, and also building probably 1 or 2 blocks of classrooms to accommodate the kids which are in this area, because there isn't any school around this area, and the kids we have today are just a sample of the many kids who are in the area. So we bought this piece of land for $800, and it's 2,000 square meters, and we have already started working on it. We came here as a church, and we started slashing down the grass, cutting down the trees, and creating some roads so that at least we can have cars. And we are in the process of getting bigger equipment to work on the land itself, to cut all these trees around here. But obviously it's going to cost us a lot of money. But we have already started negotiating with those people who have the right equipment to do that. So for those who are hearing this announcement, or this advert, I can probably call it an advert, which is actually seeking financial help, whatever it is that you can help us with. We've already started working on the land. Like we had men who already came, probably they've been here for about 3 to 4 days working on the toilet, because that was the first thing we thought. Obviously we need to have a toilet on the site. So they have already started digging down, but at the same time, they have come to a point where they can't go even any further, because there is a rock there, hard stone. So we are coming up with means and ways of trying to, because I understand that the pit must be about 3 meters. Is that correct? 3 meters deep. So they can't go any further now. One of them is about 2.5 meters, and the other one is only 2 meters. So while I'm interviewing like this, I'm going to call the men who've been working here actually on the site. If you can come, let's talk, so that you can actually tell us what you've been going through, what has happened so far, and what you think we need, so that we can carry on with this work which you've already started. Okay, so this is Mr. Gwanzura here. Mr. Gwanzura, have you got anything to say about the work that has already started here, that you've already started doing, in terms of probably briefly, just a brief note about everything?
Yeah, we started this area nicely. We thought it was going to be easy, and we never expected that it was going to be a rocky place. When we started digging, that's when we discovered that there was a rocky, and it's a rocky place. But we're doing our best, and we hope we're going to succeed. But we need an assistance.
Okay. What kind of assistance do you need?
Financially, we need money to work on this, because our cash is little bit. We don't have enough cash to surface all this job as it is.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Manyao, you're actually one of the men who've been working on the toilet pits, digging them. So what have you got to say about?
We've been working on this place, trying to make some toilets, but find that going down, digging the holes, it's now hard, so that we can hardly not go any further. So we need financial to any who is able to give us finance to finish up our job. Thank you.
What sort of things do you need to complete the building of the toilets? Because if you say finance for the digging, probably it's just $5 that you need. Probably it's just what sort of can you generalize everything?
We need dynamite.
You need dynamite to hit that stone so that you can break it, so that it's easy to take out.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Gwanzura Jr., you can speak in any language we can translate.
Okay. Sekushando batanga tichita actually makomba aya anga ari kudiwa actually the accurate meters.
Okay, so Mr. Gwanzura is saying that since they started working, they knew that they needed about 3 meters for each wall. Kero?
Yeah. I think that is.
Okay, so have you actually faced any problems since you started working on them? What sort of problems have you had? What sort of problems have you encountered since you started working on these?
Probably we've mentioned that pataidiga tichidiga saka takazosangana ne a big rock saka it needs a dynamic.
Okay, so Mr. Gwanzura is saying that during the process of digging these holes, obviously like what everybody else is saying, they actually encountered this rocky place which was very hard to dig using this the shovels and whatever equipment that they've got there, so they couldn't go any deeper. So like what everybody else has said, they need help to get the right material that they need so that they can soften up the ground so that it's easy to dig. But obviously the did you call them dynamites or whatever? Are they that expensive that you can actually go on air to seek for finances? You need to be real because it's reality here that's going to help you. You see, are they that expensive? How much are they that? What else do you need? Come out nice and clear so that, you know, you get the help that you need.
We've needed about 3.
What materials do you need to build for a toilet to stand? What materials do you need for you to say, now I can walk into this toilet and use it? Because like now, no one can use it like that. Even if you have the dynamite, it's just going to dig the hole, but then you can't use it like that. Mr. Ngosha, have you got anything to say?
Oh, yes. Yeah, as the builder of these toilets, otherwise we need some bricks. Of course, we already have some of the bricks. We need cement and some reinforcements, some sheets, so that we can complete this work.
Okay. So besides the toilet, what other buildings are you actually looking at constructing in this place?
Yeah.
You said you're the builder, so can you sort of take the lead?
Okay. As the church, otherwise we need a church building and then a house, so that we'll be having someone who will be looking after this area.
What sort of size are you expecting for the church building?
As I'm seeing, the church is growing, and there's a number of people who are attending the church.
Well, so what's the capacity?
Otherwise, 1,000.
1,000.
Yes. Yeah.
You want a church which is going to hold a maximum of 1,000 or a minimum of 1,000?
A minimum of 1,000.
So that's the capacity.
Yeah.
Okay. What sort of structure are you looking at? Is it just like one big piece of wall, or you've got to have other things like offices and other things within that main building, or it's just one wall? Because that is going to help now with the calculations of how much you're going to spend on that building.
We'll be having a church building, then with some offices.
With some
inside.
offices inside. Okay. Have you got any other structures in mind that you want to put here?
Yes, as you are seeing that we have some kids here, I think we'll be having another building that will be here for this one.
What sort of building? For the kids? Are you talking of a school? Now
It's
I
a
can talk
school,
about
yeah,
a school.
it's a school because they're traveling a long distance.
Okay.
So we have that building.
Okay. Okay. So now, thank you very much, Anna Baba. So we want to talk about the kids now. Those who are going, because as we have heard already, we've got kids who are going. They're actually very young and they're going distances. Actually, when they go to school, they are walking long distances to school. We've got 3 schools in the area which are very far away. We've got Mawanda School, Maritangwe School, and Marshall Primary School. Those who are going to Mawanda Primary School, are you here? Can you come around with your parents?
Hanzi vanoenda kuchikoro kuMawanda uyai padhuze nevana venyu.
Okay, so your kids are not okay, they haven't arrived yet. So these are the parents who have kids who are actually going to one of the schools, which is about how many kilometers? 3 kilometers one way. So it's 3 kilometers each way. So it's a total of 6 kilometers that these kids are walking. And how old are they?
The other one is 9. The other one is 7.
A 9-year-old kid and a 7-year-old kid, and what else?
8.
8-year-old kid. These kids, they actually leave home early. What time do they leave to go to school?
6:45.
They leave about 6:45 in the morning. And what time do they arrive home from school?
4:45, 5 o'clock.
They arrive 4:45 to about 5:30. Is that
5
correct?
o'clock.
5 o'clock. Okay. So, what time do they start school? If they leave about 7 o'clock, what time are they starting school then?
8 o'clock.
So they are walking about 30 minutes, a distance of 3 kilometers. Are they running? They'll be running to school. Or how long do they take to walk to school?
About an hour.
Okay, so which means they leave earlier than 7 unless they're going to be late then for school. If they're going to start school at 8 o'clock and they leave
They leave at around 7:15.
or 7:15 for 8 o'clock, that's correct, isn't it? Oh, okay, so that is me. Forget about it. So it's 7:15 and they start school at 8 o'clock, which means they've got an hour and 15 minutes kind of thing. Probably they arrive at school 15 minutes in. Okay, so when they what time do they finish school? Because you say they get home about 4:45, 5 o'clock-ish. What time do they actually finish school?
Normally, grade 1s finish school at around 12:30.
After school. And okay, and the other ones?
3:30.
Half 3, and then okay, so the other 2 they finish at half 3. So do they have like after school activities that then will make them arrive home at about 5 o'clock? Because if they're going to finish, also they've got after school activities that they do. Okay, so as we can all hear, these kids, they're actually sort of living a very tough life in terms of going to school and coming back from school. And I've been talking to some of the parents here saying that at times they go to school without food because the parents themselves are actually struggling. They do a lot of general work to get to support their children in terms of food and other things that they need. And coming to you, ma'am, how many kids do you have going to school? 2 kids. Are they going to the same school then? This one, which is about 3 kilometers. So it's the same story really because it's 6 kilometers to and fro. And how old are they?
11 years. 6.
So a 6-year-old, even the 11-year-old kid, actually it's a very long distance to walk to school. In 6 years, a child of that age walking to school and expecting better performance from that child is actually very hard. So that's why we are looking at getting a block here, even if it's one block, probably 2 blocks of grade 1 to 7, or you call it what, early child ECD for the nursery, so that they can, the distance, I think in that case will be probably within a kilometer. It will be within a kilometer, isn't it? All of the kids will be walking a distance of probably a kilometer or less to school, and I think that will help the kids with their performance in school, and also they will probably not need to take a lot of packed lunch to school. Thank you very much. And those kids who are going to the next school, which Maritangwe School, okay, so okay, so can you start? Can you just step forward a little bit? Step forward, step forward. So I've got with me here the kids who are going to one of the schools, and the parents are here, and the grandparent is here as well. These kids, they're actually very young. How old are you? How old are you?
25 years.
This one is 5 years of age. How old are you?
7 years.
This one is 7 years. And how old are you?
4.
This one is 4 years. And how old are you? 8 years. And how old are you? 12. Can you speak up to the camera? Okay. So what's happening is that these kids, can you tell us about what's happening with your kids from preparation in the morning to going to school, the distance that they walk and coming back and everything that is involved? And there's another one. How old are you?
18.
18 years of age. These are all going to the same school, and the school is about, did you say 5 to 6 kilometers each way, which means these kids are walking a distance of 10 kilometers to and from school. What time do they have to leave home to go to school?
6 o'clock.
Can you speak up to the camera because we are recording?
6 o'clock. Home at 6 o'clock.
They leave home at 6 o'clock in the morning. And what time do they start school?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So these kids, it means they're actually walking a distance of, they're walking 6 kilometers, and that distance is 2 hours to walk, which means they're walking a total of 4 hours to and from school. And seriously speaking, for kids like this, I can imagine if you're walking 2 hours before you get to school, by the time you get to school, you're already tired. You can't perform. You can't expect these kids to be doing anything better, really. So that's why we are seeking help, so that we can build a school here, even if it means we're going to start with a primary school, so that these little kids at least can walk that distance, which is within a kilometer from their homes. So do they actually take packed lunch to school?
Yes. Dzimweni dzenguva vanotakura, dzimweni dzenguva havatakuri.
Can you speak up? I need this thing to be heard.
Musi vanotakura kana chiripo.
So one of the parents here, I was actually asking if these kids take packed lunch to school because of the distances that they're walking, and because of, obviously, they have to sit down in class after being so much tired, and they have the break. So the one of the parents here is saying at times they carry packed lunch, at times they go without, which is actually very difficult for kids like this. You kids, have you got, can you say something about your experiences about going to school?
pane zvamuri kuda kutaurira ana privilege nekuenda kwenyu kuchikoro kana kuti zvekudya zvamunoshaya taurisai
Chicha munoshaya chekuchikoro.
I was asking, I'm actually asking the kids to sort of tell us their experiences when they go to school. And one of them here is saying that obviously they go without food at times, and they go barefooted, which is obviously a very terrible thing, because obviously they've got public toilets there in school, and they have to just walk in like that. At times you go to school without, actually you don't have the uniform to wear, and that makes a child feel out of place if a child doesn't have a uniform and the rest of the kids in that school have got uniforms, that child will feel out of place. So this is the kind of help that we are looking at, to try and help these kids so that they have everything that they need, from uniforms, food, distance to school, everything really that any other normal child would need for their childhood. So whispering yakaipa because we are recording these things. Okay. Okay, so they need all the materials, from pens, books, and some of them at times they get sacked from school because they haven't paid their fees. So it's a whole package really of help. So I'm actually, as the founder of CHMZ, I'm actually seeking help from whoever is hearing this message today, that whatever it is that you've got is going to help these kids and the parents in this area to uplift the children and the parents together, and as a community as well. And I think if we're going to have a school here, it will benefit the whole community. Thank you very much. And those who are going to the next school, Marshall Primary School. Come and stand there. Okay, come and stand there. Okay, so these kids and the parents, so these kids are actually going to one of the schools, and these ones here, they walk a distance of, did you say 3 kilometers? These ones are walking a distance of 3 kilometers each way, which means they're actually walking a distance of 6 kilometers in total. And like I said, how old are you? This one is a 5-year-old kid, and walking that distance, you know, I don't want to keep on repeating, but it's just so obvious that it's not, it's very hard for kids like this. And how old are you? This one is 10 years, and still she's a child who is walking a distance like that. And it's actually very difficult for the kids. The problems, they actually keep on repeating themselves. But just talking to the parents, what sort of difficulties are you facing with everything, really, as a package, with your kids as they go to school, come back from school, and everything that's involved?
Dzimwe nguvawo kana pane chekuti vanogona kutakura vanoisira lunch kasi kana pasina vanongobudawo vakadaro.
So one of the parents here is saying that at times the kids, they go to school without lunch, without packed lunch. At times, if they have the food, obviously they pack something for them. What sort of are you working? Do you work? Are you employed?
No.
So how do you support your kids? Where do you get your money from? So I've been asking one of the same parent here if she's employed. She said no, she's not employed. I said, how do you get to feed your kids? Where do you get the money from? She's actually answering me here, saying she's just got to go around the farms doing some general work, piecework, of any kind really, of any nature, so that she will be able to support her family. What have you got to say, Sekuru?
Tinogona kuita mamwe mabasa atinenge tichigona kuti tinoita tichigona kuti tiraramise mhuri dzedu, uye dzimwe dzenguva vanogona kutongoendawo vasina chavaka.
I'm Christine Hune. I'm the founder of CHMZ Ministries in Zimbabwe. Currently, we are actually holding church services at Farm 97 in Sengesi. But we thank God because the church managed to raise about $800 to buy a piece of land, which the council is happy to extend it for us because of the vision that we have. We have kids who are going distances as far as 6 kilometers each way to school, and we don't have like a local school, and the kids are young. I mean, we are looking at 3-year-olds walking distances like that. So my vision, or what God has put in my heart, is to build a church with the foundation there of Jesus Christ, and have a school there whereby we will have a school curriculum which actually has the foundation of Jesus Christ in it. So we are actually looking at building the church hall, and a few things. I'm not going to actually list these things because I've been discussing with Gilbert Ngosa here, who is he's a builder. At the same time, he is a pastor. Gilbert trained to be a pastor for 4 years, but since he had the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ that I brought into this area, he actually said he was going to come and sit under this word so that he will learn these things that he had never had before. And with Gilbert, we've been walking and working together for the past 4 years, and with these plans in place, I'm going to leave everything to you, Mr. Ngosa, to sort of give us a rundown of the structures that we have discussed before, because these things are being recorded, so that we will come up with a rough estimate of how much we need to come up with everything that we need to put in that place, so that we can say, okay, now we can use it as a school, we can use it as a church gathering center, since we don't have any other place like that in this area. I leave it with you, Mr. Ngosa.
But firstly, I shall ask you to interpret for me, because I shall use my mother's language.
Okay, not a problem at all.
Yeah, shoko rasvika muno muna 2012. Good news yo yanga ichitaurwa nezvayo yasvika 2012
when the gospel arrived to us in 2012
naSister Christine Huni,
through Sister Christine Huni.
Neno sezvamambonzwa zvitsananguro ndakauyawo ndikagamuchira shoko iri rikandiitawo zvakanaka zvikuru kwazvo.
Like you have heard her explaining, I actually received Jesus Christ. I had already received him as my personal savior, but I didn't have the actual truth in me. So
ndakanzwa ndichifara pavakatanga kudzidzisa nyaya yenew birth kana kuti foundation.
I started rejoicing from my inner heart when she started teaching the foundation of a true Christian.
Izvi hazvina kuitika kwandiri ndoga, vakawanda munharaunda vakanzwa kufara, vakanzwa kugamuchira shoko iroro.
The good news didn't change only me, but a lot of people have come, are actually coming every time, every day to hear the good news.
Saka kutanga gore rokutanga ravakasvika takatanga hedu tichipindira mukitchen.
So since 2012 we were actually gathering, the church was gathering in a kitchen, Gogo Huni's kitchen.
Gore rakatevera takaona tichakwana mukitchen ndobva tabuda panze.
And the following year there was unbelievable growth, and we started actually pitching a very small tent outside.
No, tapindira ipapo ndobva taona tichakwana futi zvakare.
And then the church kept on growing until obviously that small tent was not good enough.
Ndobva tatenda Mwari zvikuru kuburikidza nemutungamiri wedu founder vakabva vatitengera zitende zvihombe munova ndiwo matupindira iko zvino.
We praise God because Sister Christine bought a big tent, a 700 capacity tent, where we are actually holding our church services now.
Asi tikuona kuti chechi iri ngokura zvototi mutende imomo hatichanyatsokwani zvakanaka futi
The
zvakare.
church is growing, and at the moment the tent is even becoming small.
So takabva tati regai tinotsvaga nzvimbo yatingavakira chechi kucouncil.
So we started looking for a ground. We went to the council to look for a land.
Then ndobva tatenga nzvimbo iye yataanayo.
So we bought this piece of land.
Zvino taanayo kudaro takatanga kufunga kuti chii chatingatange kuita ipapa.
Now that we've got the piece of land, we started thinking about what actually do we need to put in place first.
Chinodiwa chokutanga takafunga nezvetoilet.
We thought about the toilets, that we needed them to be the first thing to be done there.
Ndo patakatanga kuchera makomba aya tanga tichiratidza.
So we started digging the toilet holes like we have showed you before.
Panga pasingachereki zvakanyanya bhozi nzvimbo yacho inzvimbo yematombo.
The ground was so hard because the whole place is quite stony.
So takaedza kuti titsvage mishini yekucheresa nzvimbo idzodzo dzakaoma.
So we tried to look for machinery to help us with the digging process.
So ndo zvatiri kuita iko zvinezvi kuti kupedziswe kucherwa gomba iroro.
That's what we're actually currently doing, so that we can finish digging these pits.
So chimwe chinhu ndechekuti nzvimbo yedu sezvo iri nzvimbo izere matombo.
The other thing is that since our land is actually very stony,
kuti tiishande nemaoko inotoda mishina yakaita semakatapila, mabulldozer kuti valevure the ground.
It actually needs complicated machinery to sort of level it up and bring it to a state where we can actually start building something there.
So takaedza kutsvaga kune vakasiyana-siyana kuti vanoitawo mari vanozvifambisa sei kuti pagadzirike patange kuvakika ma-structures akanaka.
We've been looking for a reasonable quotation from different people who have these machineries so that we can start working on the ground.
So vatakaona vacho vakatichajawo kuti vashande nzvimbo iyoyoyo for 10 hours vanoda $120 per hour.
We've managed to get somebody who has actually said for 10 hours he needs to be paid $120 per hour.
Vachida zvakare nefuel kana kuti nditi diesel richashandiswa nemushini iwoyo 200 liters.
And he wants us to buy diesel for obviously the work that's going to be done there for the machinery, and also transport money, which is $300.
Then fuel yacho per liter rimwe chete panenge inenge riti $1.25, so times 200 liters.
And the fuel is costing $1.20 per liter, and the total amount of fuel which is needed is 200 liters.
So isu sechechi yedu iri kumusha isina vanhu vanoshanda, vanhu havana mabasa vainawo vari kuita.
So as a church which is in this kind of remote area, people are not employed, and it will be very difficult to get. It seems to be like a small amount of money, but it's actually quite a bit difficult to raise such amount of money.
Saka tikutsvaga rubatsiro rwokuti tikagona kuclear nzvimbo iyoyo, then takuchitanga ma-structures now andanyora pasi atikutarisira kuti nzvimbo yedu iyoyo titange kuvaka panzvimbo.
So we are looking for financial help so that if we have that, we will be able then to start the work that's needed to be able to start building the structures that we need there.
Saka tapedza edu toilet iyo tangati kuti tikawanawo mvura nekuti nzvimbo iyoyo hainawo mvura.
We also need water in that area.
So mvura yacho tinotodrilla maboreholes.
We need to get a bore drilled in that area.
So bore kuti rivepo rive nemvura yakutoshanda rinoda $4,000.
And for a bore to be drilled there, it needs $4,000.
Now nokukura kuri kuita chechi yedu sezvatiri kuona nguva nenguva iri kukura, vanhu vari kuuya vari kufarira shoko raMwari.
Since the church is growing and people's lives are being changed with the gospel of Jesus Christ,
tikutoona kuti zviritori nani kuti tive nechurch building inengatakure vanhu more than 1,000.
we want to have a church building there with the capacity of 1,000 people,
Zvakare ine maoffices pamusoro.
with offices built upstairs as well.
Sezvatamboratidza kuti tine vana vadiki vari kufamba nzvimbo dzakati nzendo dzakati rebei kuenda kuzvikoro.
Like we've shown you, we've got kids. Not all of them were shot on the camera. Some of them had not even arrived from school because of the walking distances. We have these kids who are walking long distances to and from school.
So hurumende inotibvumira kuti tivake mablocks kana kuti pekudzidzira vana. So takaona kuti zvakanaka kuti tive mablocks atingavake pastand pedu ipapo.
So the government actually allows us to build school buildings. So we actually discussed as a church and agreed that it's better to have school blocks built in that area as well.
Nedzimba dzematicha.
And accommodation for the teachers as well.
Tozotiwo pane kushandwa kwese kuchaitwa basa iri basa hombe.
This work actually has a lot to be done in it.
So panotodo iri construction company kuti ndo inowana zvinhu zvokushandisa ipapa.
It's not a simple job. It actually needs a construction company to start working on it, for they have the expertise that's needed to build such buildings which are needed there.
So ndongoti hangu muchidimbu mari yatikuona yatingati kana tikawana inogona kutiburitsira zvese zvatataura, tikawana mari inoita iyo 10 million zvinhu zvedu zvinotofambira zvakanaka.
So in short, we are actually looking roughly for everything that we have listed down about $10 million to build all these buildings that we have mentioned before.
Saka naizvozvo aiwa ndinotenda ndo chikumbiro chatinacho kunani nani zvake angagona kutibatsira tichaita zvose zvatataura zvinhu zvatakanyora pasi.
We want to thank everybody who is listening to this, that whatever it is that you've got, we will actually welcome everything. We will receive with thanksgiving anything that God has put in your heart to help us construct all these structures that we want to construct. We believe that God has put something in your heart, and we will thank you from the inner hearts of our hearts. As you know, this gospel is just growing, and people need the gospel of Jesus Christ. People need their lives to be changed, and people need to see the God that we preach. So we want to thank you in advance for the help that you are going to give us to be able to build this church and the school blocks and the accommodation for the teachers, and to drill the ball and everything else that we need to put in place in this place. Thank you.